What's up guys, Mr. Bazy here, and today we're going to be talking about the maps in Halo 5 Guardians, and I'm not talking about the new maps that are going to be coming out. I'm talking about old school maps. Now I touched on this briefly in a previous commentary, however I want to actually create a specific commentary for this topic because I want to see some old school maps come back. Not that I think that Halo 5's maps are going to be bad, I just think I've always enjoyed playing on old school maps. Now I know that I've used Gears of War as an example in the past, I used it in the past recently. However, it's just a great thing to pull from. I'm going to use Counter-Strike here as well in just a moment. So with Gears of War, they've notoriously brought back a lot of their old school maps in their newest games. Okay, they updated the graphics, they added some tunnels that made it a little bit easier to get to places. Of course, they used them all as DLC. It's a very reasonable solution to use it as DLC. There's not much motivator other than that for a developer to create DLC when they have to be concentrating on the thousands of other things that entail game development and stuff like that. So when it comes to it, yes, they were DLC, yes, they were full price and all that stuff, but when it comes right down to it, it was fun. It was fun playing on old maps with the new schematics, with better graphics, with variations to the map to really spice it up a little bit. These are the things that I think need to happen in Halo 5 Guardians, or at least not need to happen, but I would like to see it happen. It would really add a decent bit of variety, bringing back the most popular maps in Halo history, okay, across the board. I'm not limiting it to any one game, Halo 2, 1, 3, 4, Reach, any of those maps. I think it would be really interesting to see. Of course, it would have to be scaled and everything for the game, but the layout and the schematics and the graphics and all that stuff would be updated to fit Halo 5 Guardians. Now, again, they probably have to do this as DLC. That's a very reasonable thing to do, even though I personally, and I'm sure the community, would not like to see that happen. The most feasible way to actually have this come to fruition would be DLC. There's no way the developer, in this case being 343, going to do this for free. The only way I could see this happening, kind of on the side, would be if, of course, 343 is going to have their DLC, they're going to have their Halo 5 map packs. One of the things I could see happening is, alright, well, you're going to get these 3 maps, right? And then you're going to get a bonus map from a previous Halo, you know what I mean? Done up with new graphics, maybe a slight twist on it like we saw with Sanctuary and the waterfall system that was implemented on the flag platforms, little twist to it. So maybe we'll see the generic map pack that will include one bonus map from a previous Halo that's being remastered. That would be pretty cool. However, I would like to see it go deeper than that and have designated, throwback map packs. That would be really cool, because if you think about all the things that I've talked about, toggleable abilities, I know I'm delving off topic a bit here, but toggleable abilities, you throw all those things into Halo 5, you throw some old school maps into Halo 5 that have been remastered, possibly even have a little bit of, again, they spiced it up a little bit, they've added some things, subtracted some things, made some new routes to go through or whatever it may be. And then you think about all the new game modes that have been recently introduced into Halo, or into the Halo universe recently. So for example, Extraction. Now if you think about Halo 3 on Construct, that's a map, now this is my opinion, but that's a map that I think would work extraordinarily well with the game mode Extraction for competitive reasons and for social reasons. It looks like it's a really great map. Now King of the Hill worked fantastically on Construct. Team Slayer did as well, obviously. However, Extraction, while not being like King of the Hill, does require you to hold that position, and because of the tight angles, because of there being a lot of angles, because of there being small rooms, really fast-paced gameplay, when it comes down to it, I think that, Construct would be an extremely good Extraction game type, or game map to play it on. I know we can always just use Forge and everything, I understand that concept, but there's just nothing really like playing on an actual game developer map. It just feels a lot more natural, feels smoother. The smoothest that I've felt to an actual game developer map was Halo Reach, and Forge really hasn't been the same since then. Not really in terms of what you can make, because you can pretty much make anything you want, but in terms of the smoothness of the map, in terms of the how smooth the walkways are, and how smooth it plays when you throw a grenade, nothing's gonna bounce off of a random little detail on the ground or the wall. Those are the things that I noticed in Halo 4 that just didn't happen in Halo Reach, at least not very very often, okay? Not very often. I'm not going to say they didn't happen. They happen sometimes, especially if the map was quote-unquote imperfect, if the person didn't make it properly. So those are the things I'm talking about, guys. If you throw everything that I've talked about together, and then you think of, all these old school maps that can come back. And I'm not talking about every single one, because that just doesn't seem legitimate. Doesn't seem like it would be, realistic to have every single map that's ever been in a Halo come back into this game, even as DLC. They would be working on it for a very long time, and the next Halo would be extremely delayed. And while some people would really enjoy that, I think it would be much better for everybody to have the most popular maps from all the Halos come into, or I'm talking about the most popular maps, because there have been multiple popular maps across the board for every Halo. So just the top tier, maybe people could even vote on it on like Facebook or Twitter or whatever it is, and say what maps would you like to see come back across the board. And whichever ones get the highest votes, go with that. Because, that's really what it's about, the community, right? The community can decide what maps they want to come back. So, with that being said, guys, let me know what you think about this idea. This is something that I've been really interested in, especially thinking about and theorizing about how this could come to fruition. Again, DLC is really the only way I could see this legitimately happening. If this was, of course, right now it's just theory, it's theoretical, but if this were to actually happen, it would have to be probably DLC. So let me know how you feel about that. Let me know how you feel about the idea of bringing back old maps. Let me know how you feel about, Construct with Extraction and all those things that I talked about in this commentary. Bringing back some old school maps, guys, it just seems like a good selling point for the game. You throw in all the customization that I have been talking about this whole time, and I just think you've got a game that's so highly customizable in terms of what kind of Halo you can play, despite the fact that it's the newest Halo. It's such a good selling point to have, at least in my eyes, guys. So, it's funny because when the game actually comes out, the chances of this stuff being in the game are slim to none, so I'm still excited regardless about Halo 5 Guardians, but if this stuff were to actually be in the game, I just know it would make the game a lot better, a lot more versatile, and it would make it more customizable for every kind of Halo player out there, and not really, cater to one audience more than the other, which I think some Halos tend to do unintentionally, you know what I mean? While just searching for new and creative ideas, they unintentionally cater to a side of the spectrum unintentionally, and it's just not fair when you could easily appease both sides with some simple solutions in custom game, forge, and player settings. So with that being said, guys, rate the video what you think it deserved. If you'd like to become a Sage in training, make sure you subscribe today. This has been Mr. Basie, your favorite Sage, and as always, I'll see you in the next video.